All right, there's the Legend Airways DC-3 taxiing back to its parking space. That's the one that has the onboard cameras that gave us those spectacular views, skies over Navy Weymouth. Matter of fact, there's a picture from it right now as it taxis back to its parking space.
Planes have two different designations. You might just mention that, Chet, a military and a civilian.
Absolutely. Looking high above us there, I see a circle in the sky of smoke, and in the middle of that circle is an Aloha helicopter. Do you copy us up there, Jim?
Yes, I do, Gordon. I'm about ready to show you what happens when the engine quits in a helicopter.
You're about ready to show us what happens when the engine quits in a helicopter. Everybody knows what happens when the engine quits in a helicopter. You become a crowbar, right?
Well, judge for yourself. Here I come. Come down vertical just to show you what it can be like. Make it spin to the right, and now I'll make it spin to the left. This is a helicopter flat spin. Going both ways instead of just one like an airplane can.
Now, we've got a standing bet going, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at those 4 cones out there at Air Show Center, Jim Cheatham, with no power whatsoever, is going to attempt to put the Robinson helicopter right in the middle of those 4 cones. How do you think your chances are, James?
Well, there's money riding on it, so I think they're pretty good.
Ha-ha! Trying to get that dollar back from yesterday, huh?
I believe there's a little more than that you owe me, Gordon, but we'll see. Okay, I've got some airspeed back now, and what I'm doing is just judging my angle of glide to try to hit the spot. What I'm going to do is add a little flare to this helicopter just before I get there. And convert that energy into lift.
Unbelievable. That's terrific, Jim. Great job.
Gordon, I think you lost your bet.
I think I lost my money. Jim, that was absolutely perfectly placed.
Okay, how about a little helicopter lesson here?
Well, let's see, Jim. Can you do a loop with that thing?
Well, of course I can.
Well, Jim, show us a little bit about helicopter lesson flying, and then we'll see some helicopter aerobatics. I tell you, Chet has got some maneuvers lined up for you here.
Okay, I'm going to show you how you go up and down. I pull up with my left hand, which adds pitch to the rotor blades, and then I put down, and it takes pitch out, and I go down. Just that simple.
Now, what about the pedals?
On my right hand, I've got a thing called the cyclic pitch control, and that's how I tilt it. The way you make a helicopter go where you want it is by tilting it. So I give it a little bit of forward stick here, and it tilts forward, more forward. Now look what happens. We go forward. Okay, and when I want it to go backwards, all I got to do is just pull back on it a little bit. Up comes the nose, and all that forward energy is dissipated, and then I'll go backwards. It's just a matter of simple physics. Had it in high school. The horizontal component of lift here.
Oh, wait a minute. What about that little propeller on the tail out there, Jim?
Okay, you mean that thing that I'm pointing at you right now?
That's what it looks like. You're wondering where we all went?
What I do is, I'll show you with some smoke. Add left pedal, it adds pitch into the rotor blades, and I go around and around like this. Okay, now let's see, where are you? Wait a minute. Oh, okay, here you go. Now, let's say I want to go to the right. I take pitch out of the tail rotor blades by using my right foot. It takes pitch out, and right here is the torque taking me around. This is what would happen if you didn't have a tail rotor blade back there. Okay? Turn off this smoke so I can see what I'm doing. Now, what do you say about helicopter maneuvers?
Well, Chet had a couple lined up for you, Chet.
Let's try a loop.
A loop. Yeah, what I'll do now is show you what happens when I put all of those controls together and start having fun, okay?
Okay, Jim is now going to combine up, down, sideways, and tail rotor. Take it away, Jim.
Okay, here's the bottom line of my square loop. Get a lot of airspeed here. Now, you want to see the up line? Here we go. Now the top line.
Well, with the wind we've got blowing here today, Jim, we got more of a trapezoid than a square loop.
That's the down line. But nice. You gotta account for that smoke blowing away from me. Horizontal transverse flat spin. 4 points.
Horizontal transverse flat spin. Sounds like a 4-point roll to me, helicopter style.
Okay, here we go. I come down the show line straight ahead, and I'll give you the first point 90 degrees like this. Second point. Third point. And number 4.
Excellent.
Great job.
A 4-point hesitation roll.
Yeah, now I'll do a little screw up for you.
Uh-oh, I was waiting for that one.
It really is a legitimate maneuver. It's just not that I'm always screwing up out here.
Watch now as Jim goes to Esho Center, goes vertical in a spiraling climb.
Please screw it up like this. And now, of course, I have the reverse of that maneuver, which is called the screw down.
Watch the smoke carefully as Jim comes down here.
Okay, now, I think I'll show you a little swing-o-matic if I get down here and meet my hooker.
Wait, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, I'm going to come down here and meet Betsy, my hooker.
This is live television, James.
Well, you misunderstand. This is, I don't know what's in your mind, but this is the person who hooks up the belly hook of my helicopter.
Ah, now I understand. What have you got on the end of that long line, Jim?
Hello, Betsy. Well, I'll pick it up here for you and show you in just a second as soon as she gets me hooked up. All right, this is what I call my swing-o-matic.
The new improved sling-o-matic, right?
I don't know what you mean by improved. It's the same old swing-o-matic. Oh, you're mixing up with the sledge-o-matic. I'm sorry. This is altogether different.
Wait a minute, what have you got on the end of that line, Jim? It looks like a camouflaged football.
Well, I'm just demonstrating for you what helicopters can do with incremental loads when they're pilot reference using long-line technique.
In fact, now I see it's not a camouflaged football. That's a watermelon you've got out there.
Actually, the hard part is making it stop swinging.
Okay, I see an opportunity to get my dollar back here, Jim.
Hey, we're not making any of those kind of bets, Gordon.
Jim is going to try a precision high-altitude drop with his external load there, and we're going to try and make some watermelon soup out there on the infield.
I think this has to be a first for Boston Television, Jim and Gordon.
I think
A watermelon drop.
A watermelon drop, exactly. Now look, he's lining it up, and I'm going to let him call the release.
It's down. It's down.
It's down.
Okay, that's our version of a watermelon bust, and I'd like to tell the crowd that anybody is welcome to come out and have some of that after the show.
I don't think we're going to be waiting, and I didn't see anybody lining up for seconds.
Now, before I go on, I'd like to show you how we do agricultural spraying with a helicopter.
Okay, we're ready.
Let's say that I turn on my spray right here, and I come to the end of my field, and I turn it off right here, and I just do a maneuver called rotor over.
Whoa.
Like so, I just convert the energy of airspeed into altitude, and then right back the other way with a very fast turn, and convert the altitude back into energy again, or into airspeed again, excuse me. Yeah, do it here. I should be able to do it in about 6 seconds.
And that's timed beautifully, about 6 seconds of the turnaround. The ground's going to look awful strange from the front of that helicopter at about 90 degrees.
Yeah, well, it's, a lot of people are really surprised by this. There's no change in power whatsoever. It's just strictly an attitude-changing maneuver. Just convert energy from one form to the other and back again. Very simple.
I've got to tell you something. I've ridden with you through that maneuver, and I've got to confirm that definitely is an attitude adjustment.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it for me, and I'd just like to say aloha to everybody, and thanks to my sponsor, Aloha Ice Cream Products and Fruit Bars. They're going to be out here selling the products later. They're going to have a tiki hut out here and some of the other locations. And you can win a free ride with me by checking your stick when you buy one of those.
Aha! Let's everyone check their stick.
Great job, Jim. We enjoyed it.
Jim.
Okay, and I'm going to land right up here in front of the taxiway. Just hover taxi up to you. And say hello to everybody. Go down.
Jim makes it look so easy, but we should note that he has logged 18,000 hours in a helicopter.
That's a tremendous accomplishment. Jim also is an ex-Vietnam helicopter pilot. with many, many hours of combat missions over Vietnam. And you see a close shot there of him coming up toward his landing spot. And I'm going to tell you, it is a strange feeling as a fixed-wing pilot.
It is
Flying in a helicopter, and I flew with Jim across Nevada and Arizona. And it is a very odd feeling being at 12,500 feet with that little thing going above you.
I just want to leave you with a quote that Gordon gave me yesterday. He said, helicopters don't really fly, they're rejected by the earth. And while you ponder that, we'll go to a break. Much more still to come.
Later in the broadcast, up, up, and away with the Air Force Thunderbird.
I wouldn't buy a minivan without dual airbags and anti-lock brakes.
Do you know what that does to the price?
Well, that should be standard equipment.
Standard equipment. Get real.
Introducing a breakthrough in minivans.
Of course, I could be wrong.
The new Ford Windstar has the standard features you want, including dual airbags and anti-lock brakes, yet priced hundreds less than Dodge Grand Caravan. Before you buy anything else, test drive one today.
In business, time is money. And with some of the lowest business toll rates in Eastern Mass, 9X can give you more time for your money. More time to call clients. More time to make sales. More time to collect bills. Or collect data. In business, time is money. And with our low rates, you can make more of both. 9X.
So have you made any decisions yet?
I'm thinking about taking the job over at Meyer and Hope.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot less than I was making, but there really isn't much out there.
I'm sure we'll be fine.
You remember about 7, 8 years ago, we talked to Craig Miller over at Payne Weber, and he thought there were some things we should do to make sure that we're covered. Jack's college, paying off the house, so things are going to be okay.
Lucky he knew what we needed.
He knew because he asked.
We know your type. You're in and out of the stock market twice before most have had their morning coffee. You squeeze more out of an hour than most of your peers get out of a year. You have such precious little time, you actually pay somebody else to stop and smell the roses for you. Oh yes, we know your type. We even have a term for people like you. The 24-month Acura Legend Luxury Lease. Available exclusively at your local Acura dealer.
We're back with our live coverage. Now you have to use your imagination just a little bit. Look at that A-10, the Warthog. He's flying high cover for our rappelling demonstration that we're about to witness at Show Center.
Absolutely. Once again, that's Captain Bob Sullivan from Milton in Massachusetts. And Bob, incidentally, is a Desert Storm veteran with 110 hours logged over the sands of Desert Storm.
A-10 Warthog, not the prettiest airplane in the sky, but one of the deadliest, one of the most effective in our arsenal.
Absolutely right. Most tank kills in one day, 23 tanks in one day by Captain Eric Salmonson, First Lieutenant John Marks from the 76th Tactical Flight Squadron on 3 missions. A devastating machine. It has a 30-millimeter Gatling gun mounted in the nose of that aircraft, and using radiation-hardened ammunition, actually has a tremendous amount of firepower.
It is also surrounded by armor, or the pilot is, rather, in that particular airplane.
It's a rather odd tactical situation. They're saying that the pilot is surrounded by a titanium bathtub. He's sitting in a titanium bathtub. But in fact, if you look at the normal attack mode, the pilot rolls upside down, which gives a great back shield for him when the stuff comes through the top of the canopy.
Yes, indeed.
Here comes our helo now, and in fact, we also have an expert on staff here with us, right, Kurt?
Joining us, yes, at the anchor desk is Eric Fury. He's actually a colleague of ours at WCBB-TV. He's an account executive. He's also a member of the 11th Special Forces Group in the U.S. Army Reserve. And Eric has participated many times in this rappelling demonstration. In fact, he participated in it last year at the air show. Eric, tell us what we're about to see.
Okay, this is a CSAR mission. The A-10 just provided protecting cover, and now the men are going to come in, and the scenario is it's a combat search and rescue mission, and they're going to simulate getting a downed pilot in a mountainous terrain where a helicopter can't normally land. What they'll do now is they found a place. They're just about ready to throw the ropes out and rappel down. They're about 60 to about 80 feet high right now. And as soon as they rappel down, they'll form a perimeter, and one of the gentlemen will go over and simulate aiding as if it was a down pilot, and then the other three will provide a perimeter, or security perimeter, and they'll wait there while the A-10 comes back and provides additional cover to sweep any enemy that may be in their area while they're trying to evacuate this downed aviator. Well, when they came in, as soon as they approached the runway, they undid their seat belts and they moved a little closer to the edge, and it doesn't seem that high right now, but when you're in that helicopter hanging on the edge of it and you're looking down, it seems a long way down, and that's where the adrenaline starts picking up. And then as soon as the helicopter comes to a stop, they're already standing on those skids on either side of the helicopter.
Eric, are you actually hooked to those rappelling ropes, or you just grasp them with your hands? I mean, is there some kind of a belt cinch that keeps you together there and keeps you with it?
Yes, we're in a rappelling harness. It's very similar to what mountain climbers are using, and with carabiners or snap hooks. And we're doing the same type of rappel that we would do on any type of mountainous terrain off of cliffs and so forth. The new method is called fast roping, and that's pretty much like, that's replaced this method in newer aircraft. Some of the other helicopters that are here, they get a lot of people on the ground a lot faster, and they just grab the rope just kind of like grabbing a fire pole.
Sort of like, exactly, I was going to say, like sliding down a fire pole. So for purposes of this scenario now, what's going on? The helicopter goes away, the A-10 is still providing air cover, and we presume now that the downed pilot has been rescued.
Yes, and they'll try to move out, and this is simulated, of course, because nobody would ever rappel in an open airfield like this. They're simulating moving to a clearing, which has already been cleared and should be safe to try to move the pilot to, and this is, of course, probably some time has elapsed now, and the A-10 will come down to provide additional air cover, and now they're coordinating with the helicopter, telling them exactly where they are, and this is going to be as if there was a clearing, because the helicopter will have to come in and they'll do a hot extraction.
And we should point out that much of the success of Desert Storm, we were talking about the A-10 and its role in Desert Storm, and also the stealth fighter bomber that went by half an hour or so ago. Much of the success of Desert Storm is credited to the elite Special Forces group, of which Eric Fury is a member, the Green Berets. They infiltrated deep into the rock, and they became the eyes of the storm. They reported from inside enemy lines, secured the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait, also played a large role in the relief of the Kurds.
Gee, Eric, your work at Channel 5 is going to seem dull by comparison.
Well, those are my active counterparts. They did most of the work, and we're kind of like second string on a football field, and they didn't need us, so we sat and watched.
I have a feeling you're too modest.
So now the smoke bomb is put down to give the helicopter some idea of which way to approach?
Yes, it also gives them wind direction, and the different colors mean something. I think that's green, but with the wind blowing today, we're basically seeing white smoke.
I see our helicopter coming in low and to the left out there, making his approach back in surreptitiously to rescue the men on the ground.
This helicopter is the Huey. It got its fame in Vietnam. It was the workhorse of the Vietnam War. The nickname Huey came from when HU-1 was stenciled on the side, and thus Huey. And then they have since called it a UH-1, but it still kept its nickname of the Huey helicopter.
This helicopter, of course, is one of the most versatile helicopters that has been used extensively during the Vietnam era. It is basically the Bell 212 in its twin-engine version, the UH-1N. Very, very versatile helicopter. Took an awful lot of firepower during those conflicts and just served its role so perfectly for what it was designed.
And it was, too, Gordon, a very welcome sight for wounded, missing, downed airmen.
Absolutely right. This was the vehicle of choice for extraction from enemy territory, and as you can see here, they are now bringing the men back aboard the helicopter. There's also a second extraction method they can use, right, Eric?
Yes, last year we used that, in fact, with a Marine unit based right here. And they were part of the deactivation, and they took the helicopters and moved to California. But that is called stable, and the Marine Corps calls it the sky rig, and that's where they drop 150 feet rope down instead of landing, and we hook up and we're already in stable harnesses, and then they proceed to lift us off and get us out of the immediate area. I know a gentleman who did a 45-minute flight like that in Vietnam when they lowered the ropes in the jungle. Today, that UH-1H that just took off is piloted by Chief Warrant Officer Mike Moran, co-piloted by Chief Officer Jim Ryan, and the crew chief on board is Tom Bemis. And they're from the 158.
All right, Eric Fury.
Extraordinary demonstration.
Eric, a colleague at Channel 5 and also a member of the 11th Special Forces Group for the Green Berets. We'll be back to continue our live coverage of the New England Air Show from the Naval Air Station at South Weymouth after these messages.
Channel 5's coverage of the New England Air Show is sponsored in part by Citizens Bank, where every day more and more New Englanders do their personal and business banking. UPS, now introducing the Worldwide Express On-Time Guarantee. Jiffy Lube, every 3,000 miles, America's favorite oil change. And Pepsi, be young, have fun, drink Pepsi.
Even though it's spring, a lot of people still find themselves buried by credit card bills. But now, thanks to Citizens Bank, you can start digging out. With the Citizens No Annual Fee for Life Visa, transfer your credit card balances to a Citizens Visa and you'll pay only 8.9% APR on those balances until they're paid in full. So call 1-800-438-9222 for details and start digging out today.
A punctual boy, our son.
Punctual all over the world. UPS drivers are the same. Ask their mothers.
He's not rich, he's not handsome, but punctual. He was even born on time.
They're obsessed with being on time. So UPS now guarantees on-time delivery to hundreds of cities around the world or your money back.
If my son says he will be there, he will be there.
It's a guarantee that not only has our driver's word on it, it has their mother's.
He breaks out in a rush if he's late.
I trust Jiffy Lube explicitly 110%. I mean, they use only quality brand name products, and they always seem to do the right thing, and the places are always spotless.
I've never had any problem. I've been coming here for about 3 years now.
I'd rather go to Jiffy Lube than say somebody I don't know about because it's a name, and I've been going here for quite a while.
Well, I trust my vehicle, and I trust it to Jiffy Lube.
I'm confident that it's done correctly here.
Not all oil changes are created equally, and there is one that is above and beyond, and trust me, it's Jiffy Lube.
Most things in this world aren't big enough to handle 7 feet 2 inches, 310 pounds.
And I ordered the big breakfast.
How does that feel?
Oh, watch your head, Mr. O'Neill.
There is one notable exception. The Big Slam from Pepsi. One ice-cold liter of Pepsi big enough to handle the biggest thirst.
Ain't life grand?
We're back live. The Warthog has landed, the A-10, and there's lots of excitement still to come. We're on the air, start to finish coverage of the New England Air Show until 4 o'clock this afternoon. We have yet to see a great performance, and I know it's going to be great because I saw him last year, and he absolutely is one of the most thrilling things I've ever seen, and that's Sean Tucker.
Absolutely right.
We're also going to see a local guy, Mike Goulian, perform. We also are going to see another performance in a glider that is you don't see very often in an air show.
John Mahoney is in the Red Tail glider, and one of the things we're going to be seeing there, Chet, the beauty and the majesty of silent flight, because he'll be releasing over a mile above the runway. And as you and I know, we got a little bit of a special surprise for one of the Channel 5 personalities at the conclusion of that aerobatic flight.
All right, Gordon, right now we're going to, before we pick up the glider demonstration and his performance, John Mahoney's performance, let's go to Susan Warnick, who's down in the crowd.
And Chet and Nat, I'm with a very special sailor. He is Sailor of the Year for 1993, Petty Officer First Class Mark Johnson. That is quite a distinction.
Yes, I was very surprised to hear it when the Rear Admiral Hall called me and told me that I'd made Sailor of the Year for the entire Naval Reserve. That was, I'm still kind of in a wow state.
What does it mean to be Sailor of the Year?
Basically, I'm a representative of all the Naval Reserve Forces. I was selected through a board process of reviewing my record, and they chose me as being the best representative for the Naval Reserve for this year.
And congratulations. I know there's a big ceremony in July.
Yes, in July I'll be going down to Washington. I'll meet the CNO and a number of the other dignitaries, and I understand the Vice President, and so I'm really excited and looking forward to that.
And the next time we see you, we will be calling you Chief Petty Officer. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Chet Nat.
All right, Susan, thank you very much. We've begun the demonstration by John Mahoney and the Saldo Mark II glider, so eyes to the sky and let's listen to the music.
The grace and beauty of silent flight. John Mahoney performing beautiful, silent and graceful aerobatics in the Salto 101 glider.
It's such a small airplane and such a thin one that it's difficult to pick up on television. So while we wait for John to get a little closer to the ground so we can get a better view, we'll take this opportunity to pause for a quick break.
More orange juice, Stephen?
Thanks, Mrs. Johnson. I love fresh squeezed.
Oh, this is Tropicana Pure Premium Grove Stand.
Really? It tastes like fresh squeezed?
No, it's Grove Stand.
I swear it tastes like
She said it's Grove Stand.
Dad, Stephen says it's fresh squeezed.
You heard your mother's Grove Stand.
Fresh squeezed.
Darlene?
You know, it does taste fresh squeezed.
So what is it? Fresh squeezed or Grove Stand?
I still think that it
Stephen,
tastes...
stay out of this.
Never from concentrate, Tropicana Pure Premium Grove Stand, the taste of fresh squeezed. And also try Pure Premium Original and Homestyle.
Leachmere and Sony are going to make this a summer to remember. When you hit the road with a Sony Handycam. No compact camcorder has a longer recording time and the steady shot stabilization system for rock-solid shots. So stop by Leachmere for a Handycam camcorder, because you won't want to leave behind a bit of fun this Sony summer to remember.
Now during Leachmere's Camcorder Month, save up to $150 off all Sony camcorders. Get a bonus carrying case and tripod. No payments or interest till '95 and a Sony Summer to Remember.
What is it about cars and Shell? What is it that makes Shell the world's best-selling gasoline? Perhaps it's just chemistry. Shell, the world's best-selling gasoline.